Unlocking Insanity is a roll and write style game, which means you and the other players will be rolling dice, then placing some of those results onto your player sheet to collect points throughout the game, while mitigating your penalties. The game ends at the end of a turn in which any player has completely filled all of their positive spaces or all of the negative spaces on their player sheet, at which time all players total up all of their positive locations and negative locations for each color, subtracting the positive from the negative, and the player with the most points at the end of the game wins. This setup is currently set for 2 players. On the active player's turn, the player moves through the following phases. Step 1 is checking for insanity. The active player looks at each colored section on their player board, totaling up the negative numbers, and comparing that value with the positive numbers of the same color. If the negative value is more negative than your positive score, you go insane in that color and collect the corresponding insanity card. In this example, if this player is the active player, they are checking insanity. On checking purple, the player has a total of 14 positive points in purple, but has a total of 20 negative points in purple. This would cause them to go insane in purple. Note that it is possible to go insane in multiple colors in a single turn. You can also lose insanity cards in the same way if your positive number is more positive than your negative value. If you go insane in a particular color and you are the first player to do so, you collect the first 2 insanity card for that color, as well as the insanity card of the same color. The first insanity card has some special rules. Immediately, you select any negative dice from inside or outside of the bag and roll it. Then all other players, except yourself, must place that negative value somewhere on their player board in the corresponding color. This effect happens 1 time for each first insanity card. Once all players do this, the dice is returned to wherever it came from. Each first insanity card also has a 1-time per game effect, which is different for each color. Also, each insanity color has a negative effect on the player. Then you go on to choosing and rolling your positive dice. You choose 2 positive dice and you roll them. Then all players choose one of those 2 values and places that value on the positive spot in the corresponding color. If a player cannot legally place either positive value, the player has 2 choices. They can either place nothing and write nothing on their player board, or write a 2 in any available positive spot in any color. Once all players complete that step, the active player draws from the included bag a random dice to roll. Once rolled, each player places that value onto their player board in the indicated color, and then 1 additional adjoining space on their player board. Note that this second placement can be in any connecting space to the first and does not need to match the initial color. Then play passes to the next player. Key note, once a negative dice is rolled, it remains outside the bag until there are no negative dice remaining in the bag. If, for some reason, you go to place a negative number on your player board, whether from a negative dice being rolled or from someone collecting the first 2 insanity card, and you cannot place that negative number, you instead cross out an open positive spot in the corresponding color. If you have no open spots in that color, you proceed to check the adjacent colors for an open positive spot, and you proceed around the board until you either have crossed out an open spot or you discover that there are no open positive spots left on your player board. In that case, you do nothing. Once the end of the game is reached, the players total up all of their positive and their negative scores. Key note, each color has a target number that if hit exactly, you double the points for that color. This has been Steve from Nothing Ventured, Nothing Gamed. We hope you enjoyed learning the rules of Unlocking Insanity, and thank you very much for watching.